So, as a brand, what are the kinds of videos you should be looking into for marketing? They are plentiful, but here are 3 examples that worked for us. One of it is feature videos. Feature videos are exactly that. It's featuring a certain video, it's easy, digestible, short form content that you see on Facebook. For example, 25 top things you should do in Langkawi. Those are the kinds of videos that you see on Facebook that oh yeah, I'll watch that. Reactional worked for us because it's essentially, I don't want to do that, so I'll watch someone else do it. Or I don't want to eat that, so I'll watch someone else eat it. And story. Stories are skits. Stories are your usual skit based with full scripting and following a storyline. Now, I would love to divert your attention to the screen as we made a hyper-realistic TVC for you guys. A representation of what a TVC will look like. So, want to know the latest news? And keep up to date with the latest trends? Then visit www.wallbuzz.com.
I want to go to www.wallbuzz.com right now.
That's where we have the most entertaining videos and articles for you.
I love www.wallbuzz.com.
Does that look familiar? Now, the next video is something that we would create for a sponsored video.
Skedaddle-dee, oh wait, no, this ain't a what say you. Anyways, we're gonna let you guys decide what we do for the next 72 hours.
Vote over here. We should have breakfast in the office or in a hot air balloon.
We weren't kidding. Yeah, we really weren't kidding. If you guys want to watch the rest of that video, you can go to www.wallbuzz.com. Anyways, that was a video with our good friends at 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿. 𝐒𝐿𝐿, their campaign was essentially explore home like a tourist. Now don't get me wrong, the whole the followers, deciding what we do for X amount of hours has been done. What makes it different is essentially tweaking it to be more native and local. And that works. Now, I would love to also state this quote. Content marketing is really like a first date. If all you do is talk about yourself, there won't be a second date. Who's been guilty? No? Bro? No. Now, TVCs shouting about the client's claims. We are validating that. Again, just like influencers, we act as that third person to give comments on the client's products or service. So also digital media also enables ways for the content to be measurable. Of course, this is by the engagement of the video, and it's also for the potential customers to give immediate feedback and recommendations through commenting on the video itself. TVCs also have it harder because when it comes to the audience wanting to find out more about a specific product, they don't have a way to go about. So digital media also enables the audience to find out more by simply clicking learn more, which also can be measured. So it works in a cycle. So, video adapting to different social platforms. Us as marketers have to adapt to each social platform. Each social media platform has its own different needs and behaviors. So Instagram and Facebook, for example, I would say Facebook and Instagram and Facebook, you have to capture the audience's attention immediately. We would normally put a 3-second hook to attract the audience within 3 seconds. Because Facebook and Instagram have the curse of the infinite scroll. If you don't like something, you scroll. You find that it's too boring, you scroll. And that's it. That was your chance, that was your 3-second hook. If you do not hook on to the audience in 3 seconds, that's it. They're just gonna... YouTube is a little bit more linear. People actually prefer longer videos on YouTube because they're on YouTube anyways. They're there to watch videos. And do note on the specific age groups of each social platform. It's also, I would love to mention, it's also very hard not to talk about video adapting and not talk about video adapting to the future generation. TikTok. Hate it or love it, TikTok is here and now with over 4 million users in Malaysia and 1 billion downloads worldwide. On average, people spend 22 minutes on TikTok and it's open 5 times a day with 2.6 billion average monthly views. You're telling me you don't want 4 million pairs of eyeballs? Also, before I move on over to my colleague Steve, I would like to mention also on distribution of your content. Who's biased towards a social media app? Maybe just like Facebook or like maybe just like Instagram, right? It's better to distribute the content evenly because you never know what might happen to that one app. Take for example, who remembers Vine? Vine was doing so well until it didn't. And in that, TikTok took its place. But what do you think happened to those people who gathered all the followers on Vine? They just lost it. So I would say I would always advise you just distribute your content evenly and spread it out, and adapt to each social media platform. So now I would like to pass it over to my colleague Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Hello. Thank you, Nas. Thank you, Daphne. So I'm Steve. I do sponsored articles for clients. I work with clients on a daily basis, and I'm tasked with the ideation and creation of sponsored articles. So now, before I get into what makes a great article, what is engaging and what not, here are some trends that I would like to point out. I'm not going to highlight all of the points, maybe just a few. And this was a finding based on the Content Marketing Institute. They did a survey, a report. So they found that 66% of marketers said they prioritize their audience's informational needs over sales and promotional message. Now this is very important, and I'll get a little bit more into this later on. And another one, they found that 73% said articles and blog posts are the most effective in the early stage of a funnel to generate interest. Now this is very comforting because we find that articles are able to generate interest in a reader towards a particular brand or service. So I'm just going to leave this here for a while. If you want to take a photo, if you want to make a note. Okay. So now, if you need a little bit more convincing as to why you should go digital, here are some stats. For Facebook in Malaysia, this is all based in Malaysia, yeah. there are 24 million users, active users I would say, in Malaysia. Instagram has 12 million. Twitter is somewhat less popular over here, but not worldwide. Also, just out of curiosity, how many of you here have a Snapchat account? Snapchat. Okay, just a few. But how many of you here have like a Facebook account or Instagram? Considerably much more. So now this is very interesting because when I was part of a cultural exchange program in the US, the first thing everyone asked me was, do you have Snapchat? I was like, bro, I don't have Snapchat. It's like, do you have WhatsApp? I can contact you there. What is WhatsApp? They don't know what WhatsApp is. So this is very important. Know your target audience and know where they are at. So that's how you are able to engage with them. So now Instagram, we all know how Instagram started, right? It was very image-centric, and slowly they drifted towards video, as Nas has pointed out. That's why we see IGTV today. That's why we see Instagram stories. As a media platform, it was very important for all of us to be able to tap into this audience that are already on Instagram and to inform them on the latest trends and happenings in Malaysia. So one way we do that with our daily articles is we only include a few key points of an article and include it in an IG post, because we know people don't go to Instagram to read a full-fledged 600-word article, right? When it comes to IG stories, we do this for both daily news articles and also sponsored articles, whereby we include the featured image of an article and include a swipe up function where readers would be able to swipe up and be redirected to the full article which is on our site. Now for event coverages, we also do event coverages. For let's say if you have an event, we can send someone over to document the event and to shout it out to our users online. So if you would like to know a bit more about how we work in content creation, here is our workflow. So day one definitely disturbs me with saying, hey Steve, I got a new brief. And then I would have to begin to crack my head to find suitable angles, or I would say Nas and I would have to do this. So on the second day, I'll be able to compile the angles already and send it over to the client for the selection. On the third day, we begin the drafting after the client selects an angle. And the fourth day, the client receives the first draft and gives us feedback so that we can make any necessary amendments. So really, we work with 2 days for coming up with an idea and an additional 2 days to come up with the first draft. So, we all want to know what makes viral stories. What is virality? But the truth is, there is no one answer. At any given moment, at any given time, a video or an article can go viral. A simple cat video can go viral. But what I can tell you is this: there are some things that makes an engaging article, and these are some of the things that we look at, and these are some of things that you should look at when you're coming out with your content marketing campaign. So number one, it would have to be informative. For example, have you ever realized, or have you ever noticed, barber poles? Do you guys know that barber poles there's outside every barber shop? The red, white, and blue one, it swirls down. Did you know that there is a very interesting origin to it? It dates back to the medieval ages, and it's basically it talks about how barbers used to be barber surgeons, and they perform a range of surgical and medical practices on their clients. So it's very interesting. If you want, you can go and Google it and find out more, or you can go to www.bulobuzz.com because there's an article that I wrote it. Shameless plug. Okay, next thing that we look at, it has to be relatable. Why? Because we as Malaysians, we want to read content or view content which is relatable to us. And this is very important for World of Buzz. World of Buzz has always been very local in the things that we produce. So something relatable, like maybe things that we used to do when we were kids. And this ties back to the last point, which is evoking emotion, right? So when we read content such as this, it would have to really bring up fond memories of our childhood so that we would be able to, or a user would be more inclined to share and tag their friends in the comment section. So now these are the two approaches that we adopt. We do direct articles, we do native articles. We would normally advise our clients to go native. Reason being because native articles are less hard sell. They're less promotional, less in your face. Because we know that we as consumers, we don't like ads. When we see an ad on YouTube, what's the first thing we do? Skip ad, right? So native articles do a really good job in avoiding all these things. So here are a range of articles that we do. We do direct articles, we do interview-based native articles, we do travel listicles, so on and so forth. So now I'd just like to highlight two articles in particular which did really well for us. The first one is actually a direct article. And the key takeaway here is that just because an article is direct, it's promotional, does not mean it would not perform well. And my teammates and I, we are skilled in knowing when we see a particular campaign message, we would know whether this particular campaign would work well as a native article or a direct article. So I'll get a lot more into, I'll delve deeper into why these two articles in particular did well. But here are some stats for you. Page views for the first article was 199,471. Total shares was 11,424. And the second article, which is a native article we did in collaboration with Etika. It was for their National Consumer Day promo. That received 139,069 page views. Total shares was 3,184. So why did these two articles perform so well? Right. I'll start with the direct article. So the first article we did was in collaboration with ICT Mall. It's a newly opened mall in Shah Alam, right? And the reason why I would say this article did really well, it was because the writer, not me, did a really good job in angling it as a new and exciting discovery. And this really helped because not many people knew about the mall yet. So this gave the article its wow factor because people were commenting about how excited they are in visiting this mall come the weekend. So despite being very promotional, the activities and events were attractive enough to grab the reader's attention for them to tag their friends and to share the article basically. Now, I don't know why, I think we as Malaysians, we like Thai-themed stuff. I don't know, I remember as a kid, I always used to go to Thailand a lot. So that worked well for us also because it was a very Thailand-themed mall. Now, the second article was a native article, like I said before. We did in collaboration with Etika. Now, just to give you a bit of more understanding towards the background of this article, the challenge for us was Etika wanted to highlight rising millionaires in Malaysia. Why rising millionaires? Because we all know who the popular millionaires are. We all know the founders of Faith, we all know the founders of 𝐒𝐿𝐼, we all know who they are. So to highlight their stories in an article, it wouldn't give the same impact as it would compared to giving you some people which are lesser known. So the challenge for us was to be able to identify who these people were, and not only that, ensure that they are relatable to our target audience. And thankfully we managed to find these individuals. And why it performed well was because number one, it was relatable, because all three individuals were young Malaysians, which is our target audience. It was informative, because not many people knew about these individuals just yet. And most importantly, it was educational, because readers could take away valuable insights from these successful Malaysians and apply it to their lives and to inspire them to strive for more. So here are some clients that we've worked with, just a few of them, I'm not going to highlight all of them. So if you need any more convincing as to why you should go digital, here are some additional stats for you. Malaysia's internet penetration is at 80%. That's a large amount of Malaysians that are already online, that are already tech savvy. According to Amplify Malaysia's managing director, he says that advertisers are investing their ADEX in internet-based marketing, such as social media management, content creation, and so on. He also finds that mobile is a dominant platform and is forecasted to capture close to 80% share of the total digital ad spend. Before I end my segment, I would just like to say, me as a content creator, my wish is that you as marketers would begin crafting your content marketing campaign with the intention of educating and prioritizing basically the audience's informational needs and entertainment needs first. So, because when you are able to do that, and you're able to do that effectively, it makes your content message that much more memorable. And this helps me as a content creator be more excited in creating content for you, because I know that's what your intentions are. And really all of us as content consumers, so that we can consume content which resonates with us and benefits us all. Because as a content creator, I can say the greatest joy that I have is not when my client asks me for the PCR report, the post-campaign report, and the page views are sky high. That is important, don't get me wrong, it is important. But what really makes me happy and what is meaningful engagement is seeing how readers commented on the articles and say how inspired they were about whatever I wrote, and how they are going to visit this new mall this weekend, because that's what really creates conversation. So I would just like to end with this last quote. It's a Chinese proverb, and it states, "A wise man adapts himself to circumstances as water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it." Similarly, how we used to be in print, we are slowly moving digital. Everything's moving digital right now. So, in order for a company or a business to achieve success, they would need to engage, educate, and entertain the users that are already online today. Thank you.